Most marketing teams don't have a visibility problem because they have a coordination problem that they keep rebranding as strategy.
If you want to automate anything or AI anything, you have to define the workflow.
Visibility is no longer about what goes live, it's about what the teams are able to align before anything goes live, right?
The scary truth is that we have about, I think, 5% of the control that we think we do.
The real question is not longer is just what should we publish, it's can we actually act like one team?
The distribution efforts have to meet the pre-work efforts. Otherwise, it will fail.
What's the difference between a real campaign and we shipped something, please clap post?
This is Adsy Talks.
My name is Anthony. I'm head of customer experience at Adsy. Today's guest is Miruna Dragomir, CMO at Planable. But honestly, I think that the title undersells what she actually does. She sits in the middle of the mess where content, approvals, campaigns, and team dynamics either turn into momentum or collapse completely. She's seen what happens when marketing scales faster than teams' ability to coordinate itself, which is basically most companies right now. Miruna, I'm super glad that you're here.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me, Anthony.
Thank you very much. And you're welcome. To start things off, you've seen marketing in a big structured environments like Oracle and Uber, and then you go into SaaS, where everything is moving faster than the system can handle. What breaks first for you? The process, the people, the illusion that there was ever process?
That's a good question. The processes versus the people is a chicken and egg kind of problem. We tend to focus on the processes because that feels more controllable, and it feels like with the right processes, people will follow, and sometimes that's the case. But they're really very interlinked. Processes fail if people don't understand why and how to follow them, and the other way around. People cannot work properly, unsiloed, or whatever you want that to happen if the processes are not rightly set up. I think most mistakes, because you asked what breaks first, I think the most common mistake is that we don't update regularly. We believe inherently that processes have to be this very complex thinking and strategy that you do once. You take months to decide. You have micro conversations with everyone involved. You try to build a process that covers every edge case and every use case in the book. Then you're exhausted at the end of that. Then the process semi-fails or semi-works. And you never want to touch it again because you are traumatized by how complex that happened in the past, by how hard that was. When in reality, processes should be dynamic. I think they should be iterated on regularly. And when I say regularly, I say quarterly, every half a year, yearly, like tops. Because everything moves fast, and they're not going to be relevant, and they don't work as planned, and you have to simplify actually working on processes. So the processes fail because the iteration on them always stalls.
I think it's in human nature because procrastination and fear of changes and all these emotions that we all have, they are directly involved into these problems because people tend to not to change as quickly as it's sometimes required, and it may be one part of the problem. And also I want to talk about something that you've seen up close hundreds of times. Most teams think workflow is an admin work, right? And you've basically built your career proving that this is wrong. why does workflow become a growth problem before anyone notices this?
Well, I think the reasons are similar, right? Because it's workflow is a very delicate balance, and it's what really the foundation that sets up the actual work and results for success or for failure. But it is a topic we always postpone. I think it might be a bit different now with all the AI transformation that all the teams are doing. I think, I don't know, it's been 5 years since we first presented this idea of mapping your workflows and deciding and establishing step by step gets involved, what work gets done, who needs to approve, yada yada. We even gave a framework for this and had workshops and master classes. Fast forward to 2026 when you cannot bypass that, because if you want to automate anything or AI anything, you have to define the workflow. You have to go through it step by step and to be very exact in what happens to download that information. So yeah, its complexity and its importance is becoming more obvious than it ever was. Before, it was obvious because it was very needed, because you needed to systemize before AI. Systems make work run smoother always, and it allows for people to be involved when they need to be involved without adding too many hours or spending too much resources on making teams work together. And now with AI, it just you can't skip it. So map your workflows, people.
Yeah. Amen. And also, one thing I was thinking about is that sometimes it's not about teams doing something wrong, it's about that they do things too late. And sometimes this is not visible on any dashboards because, according to the numbers, according to the reports, like everything seems to be fine. But at scale, it may get worse. So, 5 people, it's messy. 50 people, it's expensive. And at scale, it becomes political. So, what usually collapses first in this situation? Is it decision making, consistency, or ownership?
With scaling fast, you mean? Or with what?
Not fast, but I mean, like with the company growth, this failure becomes more visible and more impactful. And with scaling, what usually like collapses first in terms of this problem? Is it decision making of maybe managers and higher management? Is it consistency of work or ownership processes?
It's very good timing for me to get this question, because I just Planable, we joined the SE ranking company a year back. We were a 40 people team before then, and now we are a 200 people company. And so the scale basically quadrupled in size very fast. And for the first months, maybe half a year, it felt very weird because I had the same rhythm in mind in making decisions and implementing decisions and making changes and adapting. It just didn't go through. So we wanted to move with the same agility, but it just cannot happen. And now, a year after that, I'm understanding why actually it's so hard to make decisions in big companies. And there's a few reasons. The first and foremost is that decisions honestly, it's an octopus. The bigger the company, the more tentacles it has. And so any decision, any implementation that you want to make has about 1 billion different side effects and ripple effects throughout the company. You cannot foresee those, but of course, you have other people that may see them and that may push back. And then you want to go back and you want to replan and to avoid whatever consequences were brought to light. And that trying to implement something that doesn't severely affect other things that is the part that makes it stall so much. And part of it is, it's just generally more complicated. And if you want to look at scale, look at countries and states that want to change laws, and you'll see, that moves so fast and so slow. And when it does move years later, you realize, wait, that decision, that law, that regulation had a huge impact that no one actually thought about, and it had bad consequences and so on.
Like butterfly effect.
Yeah, exactly. And it's impossible to plan for all of those side effects that will happen, but it is an ambition that we have to plan for them. And that makes decisions harder and harder. It makes finding the solution a more complex process. But agility is a muscle that still has to be worked on. We cannot plateau and just accept, it's fine for us to, I don't know, need 3 months to make a call or a change. That's something that, we promote a lot internally here. We have to build systems that allow for agility and flexibility, and that make it so that we don't feel like the world is changing with every different priority or idea that we bring to the table. How? I don't know. For example, we're moving away from long-term planning or long-term exact planning, because that kind of creates this mentality, oh, I know what I'm going to do for the next 3 months, and that's my plan, and there's no flexibility around that. We need to tweak that, and with AI and with the rhythm accelerating so much, one way where we're trying in a bigger company to keep agility alive is to change how we plan and how we think and how fixed we set the vision, I guess, or the actual project.
Hmm. And also, speaking about this, from my experience, I've been working in several companies throughout my life. Usually, most companies don't have a very aligned teams. Like I don't think this is bad. This is just a common problem
Yeah.
that companies have. They have separate departments pretending to agree. And I've been witnessing how different departments trying to agree, trying to find the common ground, but very often they have some miscommunication, misalignment, etc. So SEO has their own language, social team, SMM team has their own brand, and no one of them fully match. So my question was like, which team from your experience usually the most disconnected in this like scenario?
Which team? Which team within marketing? Or within the big organization?
We can answer both questions because SEO is usually part of marketing, but yeah, if we talk about the entire organization, maybe the picture is different. So let's start from the top,
Yeah.
and then
Again, I am all about peace today. So you found me in a very peaceful state of mind, and yeah, here to understand and be empathetic to everyone. Teams do have different routines and processes and workflows. And so miscommunication many times happens because it's a lot more comfortable to work with the peers that we've established a certain process in. And it's always easier to forget, oh, wait, I should loop in X, Y, and Z because they should also be aware of this. Maybe it impacts them. It's more about understanding and making the effort constantly of figuring out how what you're doing it will impact the other teams than anything else. Now, which teams tend to do that most? I don't have a top of mind, but probably the ones that are more used to working in strict processes are more likely to behave like that, right? To work with, I just take and I do. Like, for example, engineering is a team usually that is very into their own processes. They have very strict project management habits, usually routines. Yes, they have their sprints, their cycles, their ways of working. They get the specs, they ship the product, and then they usually loop someone else in. And maybe if we're to translate that to marketing, maybe SEO also comes to mind as being a team that takes and just then they do their thing, right? They're in their systems. They know the engines that they have to oil so that the ranking starts happening or whatever the goal is. And they tend to maybe postpone the other things that impact their SEO or the ways that SEO impacts other teams and how they should collaborate.
Mhm. And, usually alignment is invisible until it fails, right? And
Mhm.
let's look it from the different perspective. I asked you about the team that tend to do this like more often. Let's look at from the angle like what from your practice should look like a usual Tuesday in terms of team alignment. So from your practice, from your
Mm.
experience, maybe you have this. What it should look like in order not to fail.
I think we should establish more clearly who needs to be looped in at the inception process of any project. I think the big picture is a moment where we many times fail to get everyone on board, right? We get started on things and then, wait, this project needs, I don't know, SEO right now. This project needs maybe some influencers because it's stalling right now. And then we ask that person to come in, but they lack the context of what that project is, how it got to where it is, what is its background, what is its context, and how it fits into the entire priorities of the company. And so without any of that context, the person that gets looped in is overwhelmed. Like, wait, what even is this? You want me to execute on something in a situation where I don't understand what I'm supposed to help with? I already have my 10,000 list of priorities anyway. Thank you very much. And so, no, thank you. Uh, or they try to execute really fast for the sake of people pleasing, and they do it poorly because they just do it for the sake of execution. I think that on a regular Tuesday, first of all, if we are to choose one meeting, and I know I'm not a fan of meetings because there's so many, but if we are to choose one and cancel all the rest, I would say choose the one that gets people to a joint level of understanding, uniform level of understanding of what will happen, what is the big picture throughout all the teams in the following X time. I don't know, week, month, quarter, maybe. But people need to listen because, people also have selective listening and they're like, I don't need to know this now. But that's the goal that the meeting should achieve. How? I don't know. But yeah, so then all the other looping in will happen more naturally if everyone understands what we are as an entire company or team need to do, to achieve and deliver.
Yeah, well, that actually is like a truth that everybody knows, but not everyone remembers it when it
Mhm.
comes to the real deal. Okay, so in this case, let's switch from the systems problem to something more fun. We
Mm.
will play a little game with you. I will be telling you some statements and I want you to shoot the answers from the top of your head. So don't think too much, just what comes first to on your mind, just reply with it, okay? So
Okay.
this game is called Rapid Fire, and the first statement that I want you to comment on will be the following. What is the most useless best practice teams still follow?
Repurpose everything. You want me to follow up on that?
Yeah, well, yeah, I will take it. It's fine. We're just starting.
Okay.
I have a bunch.
Okay.
The next one is one marketing belief that you disagree completely.
Everything is scalable.
Mhm. Yeah, because there is always a limit to that, either in hands or in tools or in ability to scale. What do startups copy from big companies that quietly kills them?
Fancy stuff. Fancy, creative campaigns with minimal budget.
Yeah. Like, I want to have everything that, I don't know, Google has, but I have like $1,000 for it.
Yeah. Let's do Google I/O conference. Google does conferences. Why don't we do conferences with our 10,000 user base and very little following, and yes, $100 for budget.
Yeah. Yay. Okay, and now vice versa. What do big companies tend to copy from startups that can make everything even worse?
Trying to be cool. Trying to be cool usually, but they could be cool. Like young. They could be, but they usually take that through about 10 million different approval layers, board included, and it ends up not being cool. That ends up being cringe.
Yeah. Usually it is. Yeah, I've been to such meetings and strategy sessions when we were thinking big, but it eventually turned out to be very cringe. Okay, and the last one in this segment would be: do you know one thing that, I don't know, most people call strategy, but actually it appears to be just like a noise, some trendy stuff that doesn't actually matter?
Social segments many time tend to go into that. Like, it starts from a brand strategy. Let's do, I don't know, a product Friday where we present whatever every Friday. First of all, I feel like many companies tend to kill that right away. Like, the segment happens 3 times. And it feels like a strategy, but it's really just a recurring thing that you try to do, but people don't really look at your socials every Friday on the dot. So,
Hmm. Actually, this reply perfectly transitions us to our next segment. We will talk
mm.
about strategies. So most SaaS launches are just announcements with extra steps. They build, they post, they hope, and they move on. Why do most campaigns die the moment they go live, from your experience?
From my experience, it's because the team, the campaign loses track of its purpose along the way. Yes, product needs to have that campaign, but that campaign, usually the ABC of any product campaign, is understand the feature and translate that still into the pain point that it solves and the benefit that it brings. That is, I don't know, what any product marketer will read on the first page about product marketing anywhere. And then you say, yes, but we need to make that creative and we need to go to the end benefit, not the first benefit, not the first pain point, the deep, deep pain point, the job to be done pain point, the I need to make my house beautiful. I don't need a nail to, I don't know, put a picture on. And sometimes overcomplicating it can kill it. Sometimes adding too many flowers onto it can also kill it. Like, if you make it too creative, people don't understand what you're giving them. Like, Coca-Cola needs to be creative because everyone knows what Coca-Cola is. Everyone has tasted. There's nothing else to be said. But I don't know, product with functionality to which you bring new functionality, talk about that new functionality. That's kind of the reason why you're making the campaign. But in a way that your audience understands. So I think most campaigns fail because we get too far stranded from the ABC. Why do people need this? Why do people what do people gain from you shipping this? Answer those questions in an obvious language that your audience understands way, and it should work.
And if we go back
And put
to
some
the
budget into it.
oh, of
Sorry, and put
course.
some budget into it.
Yeah, yeah, like small little detail. By the way, put some budget. Yeah, I know that you talk about the pre-launch work
Mhm.
because it's the building interest before anything happens, before anything
Mhm.
ships. And what's the difference between a real campaign and we shipped something, please clap post?
Yeah, that's a very good point, because the second reason why most campaigns fail is because we don't actually put the distribution work that we should put into it. We just say sometimes it's the opposite. Like, you do all the pre-work and then you post once about it and you send an email and you say clap clap clap, as you say, we're live. Congrats everyone. We should be viral by tomorrow, because of course the world had just waited for us to put something on LinkedIn, and then it's just gonna turn into, the world will stop because of our announcement. Yeah, the distribution efforts have to meet the pre-work efforts. Otherwise it will fail. So it's and when I say distribution work, I mean genuine, cross-channel, consistent, unsiloed distribution that goes on for a significant amount of time and spreads the message of why do people need and care about what you built in the ways that will work, and then the channels where people will listen, and with the budget that it needs.
Yeah, and speaking about this distribution, it is not a momentum. It's something that needs to be done consistently. And from your experience, what actually creates momentum
Mm.
in the distribution? So, because most
I
teams
think it's a
clearly don't know.
I think it's about the firing channels simultaneously. I think that contributes to it, because again, I think what happens behind the scenes many times is that product ships, then you do the brief, you do the campaign, and then you tell the team, hey, distribute this. But again, the team was not maybe looped in properly, the team was not prepared. So then you do a post on social today. SEOs will adjust all the content in a month from now. We'll build new keywords that will finally rank 2 months from now. Then you have influencers that may or may not fit this into their schedule in, I don't know, 3 weeks and so on. Anyway, you scramble your efforts, and through that they get diluted because your audience doesn't get that momentum. They may be at some point have seen one of all your efforts on your channels, and if that visual wasn't or anyway format wasn't impactful enough, they just moved on. If you fire all at once, ideally you will want your audience to be touched 2 or 3 times throughout a small span of time, a few days. They'd get an email, see it on social, and they might see it, I don't know, on an influencer YouTube article somewhere too. If all of those fire at once, then that person will remember, oh, X company did Y thing. Maybe they won't act upon it then, but they will remember it. They will understand what you're trying to sell.
And speaking about the campaigns, one of the things that you've seen, I think, many times are partnerships, and partnerships that done well or not really well. And because sometimes, from my experience, the partnerships are lazy. So they are just there for the sake of it. And what actually makes a co-marketing partnership worth doing? I mean, is it a shared audience, shared problem, or shared ambition?
I think co-marketing partnerships fail in execution, in my experience. I've done a lot of partnerships that sounded very good in theory. We did have the shared audience, the shared experience, even shared messaging, like the values, the whatever, whatever was consuming our messaging at the time, it was common, and it still failed. I think what makes co-marketing partnerships work is if it's both companies really put in the effort, especially on the distribution side, following the same thing I just said. If both brands would fire the distribution power at the same time, of course there has to be cohesiveness. Of course the audience has to understand what they're talking about. But if that happens in a united front at the same time with the same amount of power, it should work. That's why at some point I transitioned to time-based partnerships like webinars or events, because those put a deadline on promotion and they put a clear timeline. We cannot fake it. But putting marketing teams together to work on things, especially if they're strangers, is very hard to do. It's very hard to do because they all have other internal priorities, and they most likely will not prioritize the partnership. They will the team that will prioritize the partnership is the one that proposed it and has the stakeholders in it and has the bosses asking about it and has key results on it. The ones who accepted, they said, sure, why not? So they won't prioritize that. And that's, I think, why most co-marketing partnerships fail. They don't actually have the full-on commitment and trust in that partnership.
Yeah, that's a really common problem for many companies. And also, one thing that was really curious for me, looking back at the Planable's growth, at around 50 customers, what did you strongly believe about growth that at that moment that turned out to be wrong later? I mean, did you have such moments
Many.
where you, yeah, can you at least name a couple, one?
Yeah, I can name a couple.
Okay.
The first one, we used to have a freemium model back in the day, right? So anyone could sign up for Planable, use it for free, and definitely for whatever. I don't exactly remember the limits, but it was a freemium model. I came from Uber. So one of my beautifully naive beliefs was that I have to fix the funnel, the conversion. It has to be a seamless experience. They have to, have the emails, the onboarding, the product experience, the remarketing, the whatever, to get them to convert to paid. But that is not what to focus on at the beginning. It's in the ABCs again, why get more if your funnel is leaking and all of that kind of mentality. The truth is that it's very possible that something else is going on if those people are not converting. Something else than the fact that the button is not bright enough or that the form is not easy enough or something like that. You don't have a fit. The people that are joining are not the right ones. Maybe the freemium model does not work. Something else more significant than the fact that the experience is not seamless enough. So that's mistake number one. A mistake number two was initially I copied the big fancy companies. So we started to build beautiful, cool content like events, webinars, ebooks, whatever was trendy 7 years ago, without the distribution budget or power or any of that, and without the most important part of the pipeline figured out, which is the high intent one, the bottom of the funnel. Without SEO or PPC, I was doing content campaigns, which, it was retroactively looking, it was not the priority that I should have focused on.
It's very good that you can look back and learn from this situations, mistakes, because it's all about the experience. We are all human. We are not able to predict. Sometimes we are, but in most scenarios, we're not able to predict the specific outcome in these particular situations. So it's really cool that you remember all these cases and you improve on them. So I think this is very inspiring. And So right now, I want to play with you another game. It's one of our guests' favorite games. It's called True or LinkedIn Bullshit. I
Love
will
it.
be reading you statements, and you simply need to tell, is it still true or LinkedIn bullshit?
Let's go.
So, yeah, let's go. So, more channels equals more visibility.
LinkedIn bullshit. What? No.
Daily posting is still the safest growth strategy.
What? No. LinkedIn bullshit. 100 daily posting. No, that's not the. Don't focus on that.
Yeah, but many companies do that. So,
Yeah, I know.
mhm. SEO and social can have separate messaging docs.
No,
Mhm.
no.
And
I mean,
yeah,
separate annexes to the messaging docs, maybe, but not separate messaging docs.
okay. The next one is AI visibility needs a separate isolated playbook right now.
Sorta. Not a separate playbook, as in you started this by saying, it's not a separate channel, and that's the biggest mistake that we're making. It's bullshit in a way that you just make a new playbook and you're going to conquer this channel too. It does need a new playbook, but that playbook should be a new marketing playbook, not an AI visibility playbook.
That's actually true. Okay, the next one is a launch day is mostly about the launch day.
No, no, it's mostly about the next week, 2, 3.
Yeah, and many people forget about that because, yeah, it's all about the process. It's all about the run, the long run, not
Yeah,
the launch.
yeah.
Branded search is a vanity metric.
No. Vanity metric, no. Branded search is a good metric, I believe, an important one to follow. Just with in light with all the other context, like AI search, for example, which highly impacts that, or yeah.
And what, in your opinion, is a vanity metric right now? Like the most common.
Traffic.
Mhm. I think I can collect all the guest replies about the vanity metric. Everyone is saying traffic. So, yeah, I think maybe after 10 episodes of people saying to our listeners, to every people from SEO and marketing world watching right now, maybe they will remember this because from my experience, working with clients as a customer experience manager, traffic still this or that, it appears as a metric that people are tend to follow and tend to value this. So yeah.
Yeah, because conversion rates are all over the place. And yeah, traffic is not the same anymore.
Yeah, and the last one is approvals are a speed problem, not a growth problem.
Oh, no, because I mean, it depends on how you read that. But I'd say no, approvals do lead to growth if that's basically what the statement would contradict. But they should not necessarily lead to slowness, only if done wrong.
Okay, in this case, thank you very much. You've done really good. Let's get back to reality. One thing that I was thinking about is that when teams say we need more visibility, usually they mean we need more output, right? And those are not the same things. What do teams overmeasure because it makes them feel safe from your experience?
I mean, I think eyeballs are overmeasured generally in lack of something else, whether that's traffic or reach on social or reach with influencers or I don't know, subscribers or yeah, just general volume metrics. We tend to rely on them and overmeasure them because it gives us the feeling of predictability for the rest of the funnel because we just say, right, but this has conversion rates and we can just based on those we can predict what we're going to bring in terms of actual revenue, let's say. But we pretend like those conversion rates are a lot more stable than they actually are, and that we have attribution in the way that we used to, which we don't anymore. And so it's time to let go of that, most likely. I'm not even sure what the new metrics should be, besides revenue, of course, and besides customers and leads, maybe. I'm not even sure in the upper funnel what we should look at. What is the quality brand visibility metric that we should follow? But I think something new will have to be invented pretty soon.
hmm Also, in one of my previous podcasts, I was talking about pouring water into the leaking gas tank. And if you had to like reset the marketing team in 90 days, let's say, they all disconnected, the teams disconnected, what's the first thing that you would fix for the system to stop leaking?
I think brand is something I would fix tomorrow, because it's also like what I'm saying, about firing all powers, everyone is in the same direction. I'm a very good example of, it sounds great in theory, but harder in reality. And brand is a big part of that, and that if I do believe that if I were to be able to fix that tomorrow and align everyone and all of our efforts into a very clear brand direction, a lot of the things would get fixed and a lot of the things would scale, with AI visibility being at the forefront of that. But it's, yeah, hard to do.
And in this case, speaking about the brands, in one of your webinars, specifically with Amanda Natividad, one thing I really liked was the audience first angle. And
Uh-huh.
I know that a lot of SaaS campaigns still start with, "We build the future, please care." How do you know when a campaign is truly audience first, not just team being excited about something they shipped?
Well, honestly, this "we" is a problem, and it's no matter how much you talk about it, it still happens. Like, I still see so much "we" at the beginning of so many marketing statements and launches. The routines and the habits have to be customer first and audience first. And the way to do that is to actually not talk about it, not one person research it and explain it to the others, but build habits in which you personify this audience in the eyes of your team. Like, sometimes we have stalking projects, is what we call them internally, which work great. Like, literally, we pick 5 customers that are the best at yada yada, or that are the very good representation of who we target with X feature, and we'll literally stalk them and present them as what this company is, where it is from, who are the people that are using Planable or IC ranking. What do they do on LinkedIn? What do their lives look at? What do they do in the product? Like actual product recordings. Look, here's where they click. Here's the content they create. Here are the comments that they leave. This stalking, I feel like, gets people a visual of who they are targeting and who they are talking to a lot more than a sentence statement can do, of saying it's a social media manager with 3 years of experience that works at an agency and drinks lattes from Starbucks.
Mhm. And, if we take that and think about the fact that we have a bigger picture now. We know that visibility leaks through the sloppy coordination. We know that campaigns die when they are treated like posts. And eventually, AI doesn't reward the confusion, right? So your current campaign and workflow pages are actually like pretty revealing, and they keep coming back to the clarity that one place for beliefs, assets, comments, approvals, ownership, which raises even like a bigger question. Why do small, boring things like labels, owners, approving timings, or shared belief end up shaping growth so much?
It's really philosophical, but it's the it's like, I'm going to go with a metaphor here. But the assumption is that everyone hires people because they believe they are great at their jobs. They have brilliant brains, great strategies, and they're going to help tremendously with the company goals. But if you hire 4 of these people that you genuinely believe will transform everything, and if they go in different directions, it cannot work. If each of them represents a piece of the puzzle, you're fading their power by not making them work together. So that's why the growth stalls, because it's growth in itself. A company growth is not in the hands of one person, no matter how much each and every one of us believes that they could be the superstar and has a bit of God complex, that we could get hired at a company. And just like that, with my brilliant SEO skills, if I get hired at a company, I'm going to transform their growth path just like that. It's the true, reliable, long-term growth is a mechanism of consistent effort across multi-channel, multi-layered, multi-funneled, multi-everything. And that requires people working together in a systematic way. So yeah, that's my philosophical, metaphorical answer.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's really beautiful. And looking at this picture, I want to close it perfectly. Can you give me one scary truth and one hopeful truth about the visibility in 2026?
The scary truth is that we have about, I think, 5% of the control that we think we do. Yeah, we think we're just going to put more Reddit out there and we're going to gain visibility, and that may work for tomorrow, but not long term. So I think that's the scary truth.
Mm-hmm.
The hopeful truth is that it's complex. It's an algorithm that no one understands. It's something very moving, but mid, even short, definitely long term, if you're doing the right things for growing your brand, AI visibility will follow. You don't have to hack it. There is no reason to try to understand where and how much it looks. That's short term. Long term, do the work and that will follow.
Bravo. Okay, in this case, I want to sum things up, and I will say it like that. One of the takeaways from our today's conversations that I personally got is that visibility is no longer about what goes live, it's about what the teams are able to align before anything goes live, right? And in SEO, in SMM, in campaigns, AI visibility, of course, all depend on the same brand story. Then the real question is not longer is just what should we publish, it's can we actually act like one team? So in this case, Miruna, thank you so much for joining. I think that we managed to build a very beautiful conversation, and I enjoyed and liked your stories, your practices that you shared. And to everyone watching, if this episode hit your nerve and you can send it to someone whose SEO team and social team still live in different countries. So, yeah, subscribe to Adsy Talks and let us know in the comments about what you think. In this case, I want to ask, what breaks first in your particular team? Is it the message, the workflow, or the momentum? See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Adsy Talks.